Hello everyone, my name is Eric Mullins, and today we're going to be checking out Kotobukiya's Darkstalker's Morrigan Aensland from the Bishoujo line. Oh Shunya, he's pretty good with the faces. I grew up on Darkstalkers, I freaking love the franchise. It's one of the first PlayStation games I've ever gotten in my life when I was a kid back in the 90s, and I remember seeing that game. It definitely awakened something inside me. I just love monsters and the occult and horror stuff. It's all so cool. But I also love robot stuff and fantasy and science fiction. I love everything! So let's get started on this figure, starting from the base. It's something a little different, kind of unique. I like that it's not just a round, boring base, but at the same time, it doesn't really represent the figure super well. Now, does it, for those of us that know Morrigan super well? The rock structures are really cool, and the slow highlight gradient that we get leading towards Morrigan really gets to push your eye towards the figure, which is nice. I mean, maybe this could be like a cobblestone walkway to her palace or something, but Morrigan is super regal, super rich, super powerful. She should be walking on something that looks fancy, like maybe a fancy little mat or something. Or perhaps it could have looked more like an actual cobblestone road from back in the day, because this pose and this design clearly looks like she's on the hunt. Moving up from there, we've got boots, and these are definitely made for walking, and some of you totally want them to walk all over you. Come on, let's be honest here. That's what this character exudes, and that's exactly what you're getting when you buy her. The sculpt is gorgeous on these boots. I love how pointy they are at the end, kind of feels like Wicked Witchy. We have beautiful high heels, and underneath this whole shoe, we actually have two thick, transparent chunks of plastic in order to stabilize the entire figure. They're actually not that noticeable. I'm pretty happy about this, and she is pretty stable. So this total win. As we go up on the boots, they have this gorgeous V-cut, and they actually go inward, so it feels like she's really pulled them up on her leg, so it clearly looks like it's molded on top of where her leg actually is. This is great. I mean, a lot of figures do this, but you know, sometimes you get cheaper ones that don't, and it doesn't look so great. All the folds and stretches of fabric on the boot are beautiful. I just really love the sculpt work, pretty much on this figure all around. Then we get into her bodysuit, or I guess it's kind of like, I don't know, tights of sort. We get some shading on them, as well as some highlights, and the highlights also come off a little warmer, kind of feels like skin for those more stretched out parts. I love the use of pink. I'm just a big fan of her color motif in general, and all the sculpture work on this, again with the stretches and the darker paint around the back of the knee and even the front of the knee, it's just really well done. And the cute little bat decals are beautiful as well. I love them. I'm such a huge fan. It's one of the things that really popped in my mind when I was a kid, because, you know, you're liking Batman, you're like, haha, and then all of a sudden you see this girl, and she's got like little Batman logos all over her leg, and you're like, I love Batman. And now maybe Morrigan as well? No, definitely. She's amazing. She's a huge inspiration for me in everything that I do in life with my comic book and Monster Girls and everything. Morrigan was really like the first, I'd say. That is for me. Then we get into like her bathing bodysuit area where, you know what, I'm just gonna mention it. The paint job between the boots, the legs, the body, and even the giant feathers on her, it's kind of annoying because everything's matte. Matte. I want some gloss. I want some more texture. I mean, this black bodysuit should absolutely be super shiny, super gloss. I almost have half a mind to shield her all up, take her apart, and spray paint some gloss on there so it really pops the way it should pop. Painting gripes aside, I do really love the sculpture. Again, it's very well done. I guess maybe it's just the heart under her chest. I would have made it a little bit bigger and maybe more pronounced and cut a little sharper. But outside of that, it's really great and very dynamic with this pose. It looks so nice. I love how she's pulling it up here. It just feels so natural too, like there's some weight to her chest, which, you know, you don't always get with a lot of anime figures. And I guess you could make the argument that with her, she doesn't need it because she's not human, so she can really control the way she looks to get what she wants from you. But at the end of the day, it's very nice here, and I really love it. It almost feels like playful and teasing, you know, hook that fish that she's going to eat later. The back of the suit is pretty nice. It's got some nice stretch marks on it and everything for the fabric, where we then go up into her back, but it's not super pronounced as we don't see it very much, and that's okay, because we don't see it very much. I love the way that her wings are actually hooked into her back. This is so nice. And the wings in general, for me, are pretty much the highlight of this whole figure, along with the hair. The way they come down super low, like arms, before the wings come out is beautiful. It almost feels like the wings could be hands and grab and do things, which is something that really inspired me when I had done this character right here, which is named Quilma from my comic. And I really like the textures we get here. On the outside, we get this cool kind of like, I guess, honeycomby skin-like texture, along with some like gorgeous gloss, and we get some stretching of the skin, which is really beautiful. And then on the inside, we get a beautiful gradient, along with some veins here and there, which really give us that bat-like aesthetic. It's so nice. Everything's so pointy and kind of creepy and dark. It's beautiful, and it really feels like Morgan. The giant poofs that we have on the side of her arm are a lot poofier than I remember them being in the game. When I was younger, I thought that they were like feathers. And then as I got older, it kind of looked like furs. And this kind of looks like a mix between feathers and furs, and it's very poofy and extravagant, and it looks elegant, and I love it. I think it's amazing. They look so good. I would have put some more shading in there, but the little bit we do get is kind of like a colder gray, and it matches up well with the rest of the figure, which is nice. They're beautifully sculpted like everything else on this figure, and I just really like them. I think it's a nice mashup of all the different types of concepts you could have of Morgan over the years with this kind of poof. Her chest is very well done. It's not over the top like it could have easily been for a figure like this, which is really nice and appreciated. It's just Morgan here has that nice kind of like va-va-voom curves while she's still rocking somewhat of a, I guess, mildly realistic proportions, kinda. I mean, as much as she wants it to be in order to hunt for her prey. It looks like they have some weight to them, and they're very well done. Where we then get up into her collarbone, and this is a weird one, but I really love it. It's very pronounced, and it kind of made me think of back in the day with those Udon comic books for Darkstalkers that they used to make. And you see that on this figure, which is really nice. I think it's cool. It's nostalgic for some of us that are huge fans of the franchise to begin with. You kind of get like a little bit of everything from every kind of Morgan throughout all the years with this figure. But you do need to love Shunia's art style and designs because it's all over this face while being quite lewd at the same time. What she is hunting. Her neck is very beautiful, elegant, long, and actually really well sculpted, where we then get into her face. A little bit round, nice jaw, beautiful eyes. However, the eyes, I would have loved a swappable face on this figure. I think it would have done it a lot of justice because like this, she's hunting. That's okay. There's tons of Morgan figures out there where you can get her doing different things, but having a swappable face where maybe she has something a little more elegant, more poised, I would have loved to have something like this. It should have definitely been included. But regardless, it still looks really nice for what it is. The mouth is beautifully done. It's so three-dimensional. It's carved in very deep where it actually gets pretty dark. It's not just painted properly. We get some teeth in there. We get the tongue, which has some gloss on it, which really pops over the rest of the figure, which doesn't have that much gloss. It's very beautiful. I love that mouth. It's so nice. The eyes look very seductive and playful, temptress, and they're very well done for everything that she's clearly trying to do here. The hand is so well placed, and it really feels elegant and dainty, and it fits her so well. It kind of gives her this look like she's almost innocent and maybe not nearly as godly powerful as she is. It's amazing. The nails have a little nail polish on them, which is really cute, and they're very well sculpted, though the nail polish I think they should have done a bit of a better job on it. They kind of pop out a little much, which almost looks like maybe her nails might be popping out or something. I don't know. It's a little off, but from a distance you don't notice it. Like, you really gotta get in close. The materials used on her arms here look like in the game, but again, no textures, no gloss. I'm just disappointed. Like, it's okay that these don't have gloss, but everything that's black here should be glossed through the roof. I want it to be so shiny that it's just like it, bam, pops. You're not gonna get that with this figure. But she is a lower end one, but a lower end one on the mid scale. So, I don't know, do with that as you will. Now we get into her hair, which is la pièce de résistance. Her hair here is beautiful. I love the trim and cut. It's so Morgan with those flat edges at the end. It's got tons of motion. It's got so much personality, and all through it, it has tons of highlights and shadings. We got dark bluer colors, greenish, aqua, all over the place. It's very well done, and it rounds out her head immaculately. We have a bunch of seam lines here and there from when they built and put the mold together. However, because there's so many lines all over the figure, they're not that noticeable. And this is like, thank you, Kotobukiya, you're so awesome. I mean, I just don't say it enough for like little things like this, but you know, putting those lines, like I say it in almost every video, you put a bunch of lines on the hair and carves and you really mold it inwards and you hardly see the seam lines because of this. And I'd rather that than seeing like flat just like in the anime, but tons of seam lines everywhere. I just don't like that. Upon her release, she was actually 13,000 yen. Pretty good price. The timestamp on this video, it's currently January 2024. They haven't done any kind of rerun for her, but they have done an alternate color where she's actually got the fusion color from when she gets together with Lilith over here. At one point in the game, you know, this girl embodies all the extra energy that she couldn't keep inside her, otherwise she's gonna die as a baby. And over the course of thousands of years, or hundreds, I'm not sure, I don't remember, she actually becomes her own person, her own creature, and all she wants to do is fuse back with Morgan. So in the game, if, depending on how you play your story mode, it ends up happening, she ends up getting the red suit, and she's just unbelievably powerful. I think she's the most powerful Darkstalker at that point. The red suit looks gorgeous. Would I get it as well? No, I try not to get alternate colors to things because I love these figures so much and the alternate colors would be cool, but I don't have the funds or the space for this. I mean, I guess at one point I could just live in a world of hardcore debt, but the space is a different thing. I don't live in some fancy house. I live in like a tiny little apartment and I rotate my figures every couple of months so I get to see them all. As I'm swapping them, I'm putting the other ones in storage for a couple of months. That's just kind of how I live my life. But at least this really allows me to appreciate my figures while they're out. You know, I don't see something for a couple of months and I pull it back and I'm like, oh, this one's so cool. So it's kind of fun. You make that lemonade, Eric. You make that lemonade. As you can see, the two figures here, they look very nice standing next to one another. One minor complaint I would have, though, is that the face design on Lilith isn't exactly like Shunia's usual style, and it kind of pops in comparison to Morgan. With the lips and even the eyes and everything, they don't fit super well. Everything else fits, but the faces are kind of off. This is a little off-putting. But it's not the end of the world, and they still look pretty decent standing next to one another on a shelf from a distance. One thing I have to mention is when I got Morgan shipped to me the first time around, that's right, the first time, she came in scratched up and damaged all across her legs. This is because Kotobukiya in Morgan's box didn't put the right kind of fluff and padding on the front of the packaging. So when she got shipped, she moved around a bit and it just slowly scraped off. However, AmiAmi is the most amazing website. I order from them all the time and they've really, like, honestly, they've never disappointed me. They've always been there for me and I love that company. They paid for shipping back to them and then they shipped me a whole new one. And the new one came in and she was much better. I say much better because there's still a tiny little nick in the same spot that the other one had the problem. So this starts making me think that perhaps this quality control issue is really with the packaging and maybe they're all like this. I don't know. I would suggest looking up on the internet, maybe on My Figure Collection, because that website is amazing for these kind of resources. Maybe check out some other people's reviews, see what they have to say. But if you start seeing the same little spot or dot here and there where it looks like the paint was kind of like rubbed up against on the leg, I feel like this is something that could be pretty standard for the figure. I also have a couple of minor gripes with some of the QC with the painting here and there. It's not really that bad. It's just minute little dots here and there, but it's still something I needed to mention. This ain't an altar figure, but it is still very dynamic, very beautiful, just all around nice for what you're getting. And here's the whole collection all together if you want a bit of that scale going on. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna remove Felicia now because she's just too perfect. You know, like these two are pretty subjective. It has to do with the faces, the poses, everything that's going on here. It's very, what do you prefer? Do you like Shunia's art style? Do you like the way that he did the lips on this character? Do you like the pose and how extreme this one kind of is? You know, like, you get that. But Felicia over here, they've made so many Felicia statues over the years, and none of them are nearly this level of perfection, so I'm just gonna put her away. She's really a perfect representation of that character. Morgan over here is a perfect representation of the character that maybe you would like. So hopefully this video helped you decide what side of the fence you are on getting her or not. But if you're gonna buy her used from someone, maybe you should ask for some really good close-up pictures of the box, or if they've taken it out of the box, the character, and specifically her right leg, just to be sure. If you like my video just a little bit, it doesn't cost much to hit that like, that subscribe, and that notification bell. This way you'll be notified of future videos I come out with. Have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Why, Morgan, you look so famished. You know what? We're gonna have to give you what you've been wanting all these years. A delicious popsicle.